Hi everyone and welcome back to the channel. Now in today's video I'm going to be sharing my complete blueprint on how I plan to invest for the next 2 years. If you've been following this channel for a while, you'll know that I've already got just under £40,000 invested on the Vanguard platform. So why start again? This new portfolio isn't about starting again just for the sake of it. It's about taking everything I've learnt so far and putting it into a new portfolio, a new platform with a much clearer plan moving forward. This will ultimately show a new series where I plan to build that £40,000 again in the quickest time possible with regular updates. So why start over? Why not keep adding to my Vanguard account? I'm planning to build this new portfolio over on the Invest Engine platform and there's a few key reasons for that. First of all, there's no platform fees. Unlike Vanguard, which charges an ongoing fee, Invest Engine lets you invest without any platform costs. The second point is that Invest Engine offer a greater ETF selection. Vanguard only gives you access to their own range, which is great, but limiting. With Invest Engine, I can build up a more flexible portfolio using a wider range of providers. And finally, a better app experience. It's no secret that Vanguard are quite far behind where the app is concerned, and when you compare it to the likes of Trading 212 and Invest Engine, the features are really lacking. So while I'm not ditching Vanguard altogether, that pot that I already have with Vanguard will stay there and compound over time, but this new portfolio will be over on the Invest Engine platform. Now let's talk about the portfolio itself and what exactly I'll be investing in. I've essentially rebuilt a version of the FTSE All-World Index using a compilation of 6 different ETFs. This is the portfolio I've built over on the Invest Engine platform. I've gone with the SPDR S&P 500 ETF for my US exposure, the Vanguard Developed Europe excluding UK ETF for my wider European exposure, the Vanguard FTSE Emerging Markets ETF covering my exposure in emerging markets, primarily being China and India. I've gone with the Amundi Prime Japan ETF for my exposure within the Japanese market. I've also gone with the HSBC FTSE 100 ETF to cover companies here in the UK. And finally, I've used the Vanguard Developed Asia Pacific excluding Japan ETF to cover the rest of the Pacific region, which my Japan-focused ETF doesn't cover. These 6 ETFs cover full global exposure and they offer diversification to this portfolio. So where it's come to the weightings of these particular ETFs within this portfolio, I've closely mirrored the Vanguard FTSE All-World ETF, VWRL. However, there are a few key differences. By building this myself, I've gained a few advantages. This approach gives me more flexibility, much lower fees, slightly higher dividends, and overall more control over my regional exposure and weighting. If you'd like a full breakdown of this particular fund that I've built over on Invest Engine, then I recently did a video covering all of the weightings and details within it. I'll leave the link to this in the description. Now, eagle-eyed viewers will notice that all of the ETFs I've just covered are what we call distribution versions, so they pay out the dividends. Many investors typically go for the accumulation funds, but that's not something I really agree with. Right now, I'm planning to reinvest those dividends, so you may be thinking, why have you not gone with that accumulation fund? Put simply, I like the flexibility. At the moment, I will of course reinvest those dividends to help that pot grow more over time. But 10 years down the line, I might change my mind and want to start using this as passive income. Essentially, I don't want to pigeonhole myself into accumulation funds and then not have the option to use it as passive income down the line. Aside from this, platforms such as Invest Engine have an auto-invest button, so I could just leave that on and it'll automatically reinvest those dividends for me anyway. In my view, accumulation funds remove your options unnecessarily. So now that we know exactly what we're going to be investing in, now it's time to look at my new 60-40 rule. I've set a clear goal here to max out my ISA allowance, and that's £20,000 per year. A quick explainer for anyone outside the UK or new to ISAs. An ISA lets you invest up to £20,000 per year, and the best part is that all of your gains and income are completely tax-free. Now here's how I'm planning to split that £20,000 across the year, using what I call my 60-40 strategy. 60% of this, or £12,000, this will be my consistent automated investing. I'll be adding in £1,000 every month without fail, regardless of whether the market is up or down. This is known as pound cost averaging or dollar cost averaging over in the US, and it helps smooth out the impact of market volatility over time. Now the other 40%, or £8,000 per year, this part will be added into this investment portfolio ad hoc. This will all depend on when I have the spare cash and also when I spot opportunities. This part acts like a reserve fund. Money that I can deploy during market dips or when specific sectors underperform. It's my way of adding a bit of strategic timing into the mix without going full crystal ball mode. I'm not trying to perfectly time the market in any stretch, but I do like to take advantage of the flexibility of being able to invest when the market dips. So the 60% of my portfolio, or the £1,000 a month part, I haven't started investing in that yet. It's just been the start of the new tax year, and this will run from the 1st of May till the 1st of April next year. But if you have a quick look here at the portfolio, you can see that I've already invested £2,000. That initial investment comes from the £8,000 or 40% ad hoc allocation, the more flexible part of this plan. With all the recent market uncertainty, particularly around the ongoing tariff wars, markets have taken a bit of a dip. Rather than sit on the sidelines, I saw this as an early opportunity to buy in at a discount. It's a good example on how I plan to use that ad hoc portion throughout the year, to capitalise on short-term volatility and give myself a better entry point where possible. So what can you expect from me and the channel over the next 2 years? Aside from my regular content, I'll be adding in an additional monthly video, which will essentially be a portfolio update so that we can track and follow this portfolio month by month and see how it grows. I'll be sharing what I'm buying, when I've been buying, and also the performance on a month by month basis. I'll also track things such as the dividend income and also track the market conditions as we make our way through the next 2 years. If you're on your own investing journey and want to watch someone build a portfolio from scratch, then maybe consider subscribing so that you can keep up with the progress. So that's the plan, a fresh portfolio built from the ground up using everything I've learned over the last few years. If you found this video helpful or you're planning a similar strategy, I'd love to hear about it in the comments section. I'll also leave the link to my portfolio in the description, so if you want to have a closer look, you can do. If you feel there's anything I've skipped over within this video, or you've got more questions about the particular investments I've chosen, feel free to ask these in the comments section as well. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.